The administration believes that this charter will support an unfilled need and enhance student achievement for autistic and typical students in grades 6 through 12 residing in DeKalb County School District. Therefore, it is requested that the Board of Education approve the charter petition for Tapestry Public Charter School, Inc. for the proposed 5-year charter term.
I call for a motion to approve this recommendation. Moved by Mr. Orson, second by Mr. Mayfield. Is there any discussion?
I'm sure Mr. Orson has a comment. Am I
We are in the discussion mode, so Mr. Orson, if you would.
I will happily make a comment and to reiterate my strong support for the petition that I expressed at our regular board meeting. I think the work of the petitioners is exemplary. They have produced an excellent petition, well thought out, targeted at a group of students across our school system whose needs aren't always well served by our traditional schools, not for a lack of intent, but simply because we are not always equipped to do so. I think it demonstrates a commitment to innovation and new thinking in terms of how we deliver exceptional educational opportunities to every student in our school system. I think the people who have coalesced around it, both as active participants on the board and their potential partners, demonstrably are experts in their field or are committed to the well-being of youth and children in our community. And so I am a very strong proponent of this petition, and I hope that my fellow board members will agree.
Mr. Coleman.
I'll pile on with some comments here. Look, I would also want to thank all the folks. You know, I know it was a long meeting the other day, a couple of weeks ago when we met about this. I think the community that was responsible for setting up this charter was incredibly responsive over the last couple of weeks. I think it was a really good example of folks who are thoughtful in answering questions that we asked, who are very thoughtful about approaching the members of the board and staff to kind of resolve any outstanding issues. And I do think this is, you know, what we're looking for to improve educational outcomes are communities that can be innovative, come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things. And I think this is a great example of that. So thank you for your patience over the last couple of weeks for being responsive. We appreciate that, and hopefully that's a model for the relationships we can have with other groups moving forward.
Mr. Mayfield.
Yeah, and I do want to, certainly for the benefit of the public as well as for other members on the board, that one of the key questions that I had asked had to do with, and I think in terms of establishing sort of a decorum or a precedent in terms of evaluating charters, one of the things that I wanted to see was the evidence to support the charter's ability to deliver on the promise. And so I do want to acknowledge that, you know, in reviewing the board members that are a part of this charter, that there are a number of board members with children who are in the autism range, and I want to emphasize the fact that autism component was a clear differentiator, if you will, in terms of my support for the charter, and that not only are the empathetic elements, if you will, are in place with the board in terms of making decisions, but the clinical support in terms of being able to evaluate this type of support that these children need are also in place. So I'm confident that the combination of those two factors will play a huge role in the charter, in the organization meeting its targets.
Dr. Marley.
I most certainly want to say that we appreciate all that you all have done putting this together. The other thing that really stood out for me is that you all want to work with the district. That makes a real difference, that the children belong to all of us, and that none of us is as great as all of us, so we're all in this together. And the efforts that you all took to clarify some of the areas that were not as clear before. So I really do appreciate it, and the fact that you all are focusing on autistic children and the families. But I think most certainly looking at autism and being able to have a comprehensive plan as to how you're going to deal with some of those issues. So I do want to appreciate all the time that you have put into this, the time that you all have waited for us to be able to look at this, and the time you've taken to answer the questions that we had. So thank you.
Superintendent Thurman.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I want to reiterate what Dr. Thompson spoke to earlier, and in conversations with her, Dr. Bozer, Ms. Copeland, and those who work to evaluate the charter with the charter petitioners, and I just want to compliment them as in light of what Dr. Morley said in terms of their willingness to work with the district, to work and help to address any questions that were raised. And I just share this for those who've been experienced in dealing with charter petitions. They shared with me yesterday and today that this is one of the finest, most focused petitions that we receive throughout the era of charter petitions here in the DeKalb County School District. We are looking forward to working with you. We thank you so much for your advocacy and your support, and we welcome the partnership that will result in greater access, not just for autistic children, but for all children, and a greater awareness district-wide to the challenges and the opportunities that exist.
With that in mind, no further discussion. I call for the vote. All in favor, let me know by a show of hands. Passes unanimously. Thank you.